Ooh wee. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Probably. Wow, wow, wow. Well, through some trials and some tribulations, I'm here. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Michelle. Welcome, welcome. I gotta take a bite to eat now. I've been through a lot to get on here live today. I've been through a lot, and I know I'm late, y'all. It's almost 4:30. I'm late, but I am logging in using a new device, a new area, all of this. And I couldn't figure out my password for a long time. But here I am. Here I am. If you are on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure you like and share the post. Make sure you like and share. I know some people were asking me where I was, and I wasn't here yet. So I hope that they jump back on because I'm here now, right? And listen, if you are out and about, I certainly don't want you to get in an accident or anything. If you're on Facebook, if you could type something in the comments right quick. If you are on Facebook, because I need to make sure my comments are working. If you're on Facebook, IG, we're good, and I can see. And YouTube, I can't see two different platforms at once. Anyway, from this view, I know I'm on both, but I can't see the comments just yet. So my Facebook people, if you could type something in the comments that lets me know you're here. And then we should go ahead and get started. Yep, I think so. Hold up. All right, here we go. Sorry about that hiccup. For those on IG, I am here and I am live, so let's go. So it's been so long since I've had an opportunity to do Sound Off Saturday. And well, let me say that since I've been able to do it consistently, just the way things are right now, schedule, everything is crazy. So I haven't been able to be on consistently. Hey, Cole. So here I am, and forgive me for eating, but I couldn't figure out my password. And because I couldn't figure out my password, it took me forever to get on here. So I have a new cute notebook that I'm going to use for my topics. Maybe. Oh man, what is this? Anywho, I'm at least going to use it today. So if you didn't see my live the other day, I have quite a bit to talk about today. We're going to talk about Keith Lee being in the DMV. If y'all don't know who Keith Lee is, he's a food critic. And we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about, of course, a couple things related to the upcoming election. We're going to talk about Meek Mill. We're going to talk about Plies. We're going to talk about rappers who are supporting somebody that doesn't care about them. We're going to talk about the Central Park 5 and the DNC. And we're going to talk about the movie Deliverance, The Deliverance. And then wherever else we go from there, we go. Okay? So let me start by first and foremost saying what you're not going to hear me do is talk extensively about the election coming up and all of this because it's just too much. And people are doing a lot. But I will tell you this. Oh, I know, but it's a new notebook too, Cole. It's just a little, I know, it's just a little cute one I got from my chapter retreat. So I'm going to try. I see people coming on Facebook. If you're just coming on Facebook, I need you to drop something in the comments. I need you to drop a thumbs up or something because I need to make sure my comments are working. So I don't think I have spoken about all things of election 2024 just yet. Oh, okay. Hey, I'm Cheryl. Good. I don't think I've really said anything publicly about it, right? So, of course, it's exciting, right? Oh, I think I did talk about it a little bit, but the way we got here is a little bit bittersweet, right? I think at some point, President Joe Biden was pressured to not run again. And I think, while I think that some of the pressure was fair, I certainly did not really care for the way it was displayed from members of Congress and or the Senate talking about it on the side. Because one thing that the Democratic Party has to work on is what we look like, our togetherness, right? We appear to be very disjointed at times. And so I didn't like how it came about. But I must say it was definitely the best decision. And a person like President Joe Biden would make that kind of decision to put his country first, you know, over his own ambitions, et cetera, et cetera. And hence, here we are now. And Vice President Kamala Harris has been officially solidified as the candidate. And people have been getting behind her in ways that maybe people didn't even anticipate in the beginning. And the younger voters are getting very involved and active, and it's all very encouraging to see. I'm just going to say that. I think a lot of us were on the fence, just fearful that she would not have the support, because as progressive as we think society is and our country is, there's still a lot of disdain and or non-support of women being in that type of leadership position, and dare I say Black women or women of color, because we know that she is biracial, right? So it's been really exciting to watch. I have been ignoring the craziness of it. I have not even really super or overly engaged on social media about it because it can be too much at times. And you have to be careful. You know, you don't want to get out there and say something crazy and put yourself in jeopardy, you know, over whatever. It's not necessary, right? We all have close friends. We have family. We have groups. We have all kind of stuff that we can, in all kind of areas where we can vent. And sometimes social media is not always the best place to vent. So here we have a Harris Walls ticket, and I cannot be more excited about this ticket for a variety of reasons. You know, of course, we know Kamala Harris is a graduate of Howard University, where I went to school. She is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and so am I. You know, and although you know, she's a member of so many other things, she does so much. She has a great you know, track record, great history, all sorts of things. She brings a lot to the table. She brings saying a lot to the table is an understatement. And then Governor Tim Walz brings a lot to the table. And one thing that he particularly brings is teachers to the forefront. And it's about high time that we have conversation about how the public school system is intentionally being targeted so that education can become privatized. And if you don't believe it, get out there and start reading and do your research, and get serious about it, because the public school system is being made to be a villain right now. For everything that the public school system does great, there are 50 other things that people will try to point out that the public school system does in a not so great way, right? And people want education to be privatized because they want to make money, as if they aren't making enough money off education right now. But Tim Walz, coming from a family of educators, he was an educator himself, his wife as well, just brings a great element of conversation about educators back to the forefront that I think we are long overdue. So here's what I'm going to say to kind of wrap this up, because I don't want to get deep about this. I think the DNC was a great time. I did not watch the RNC. I've never watched the RNC, so it wouldn't have been any different this year. There was definitely an energy in that DNC that I had not seen in others in the past. And so that was exciting. And very specifically, I thought that the people that spoke, I thought that there were very good selections of the people that did speak. I know there was some criticism about who did not speak, right? But I think that there were some great people that spoke, which leads me into the Central Park Five, which is on my list too, that I want to talk about right quick. The Central Park Five were the 5 young African-American and Hispanic Latina men, because Santana Raymond is biracial, I believe. He may be just Hispanic, but I think he's biracial. Those were the 5 young men that were accused of a very heinous crime against a woman in Central Park in 1989, right? And Donald Trump was a person at that time who was calling for them to be executed and killed, even before anyone really knew if they did it or not. Even when it did come out that they did not do it and they were exonerated, they had already had a lot of trauma. Obviously, they each spent different amounts of time, either in a juvenile detention facility or something else, you know, related to their age, because they were different ages. Of course, they formed a brotherhood since then, right? And even after they were cleared, he still made a comment that he still stood by what he did, which was take out over $80,000 worth of ads calling for their execution. So a person who called for the execution of 5 innocent young men of color in New York and stands by that, even though it was proven that they did not do it, is who many rappers are choosing to support and many other people of color are choosing to support, despite what I just said. And that's really shocking. And I think that having the Central Park Five speak, I don't know where the 5th guy was, at the DNC was very important. But what was most important about their speech, lean up, get close, What was most important about their speech is that they let Corey Wise speak. And Corey Wise, if you all also didn't see the movie, oh my gosh, When They See Us on Netflix, very hard watch. But Corey Wise, at that particular time and even now, he was known to really, he struggled in school. He struggled with speech. I believe he has speech impediment, maybe speech language disability, learning disability, and or some other cognitive things going on. I don't know if he, as I would know, had an IEP in school or anything like that, but he had some difficulty. And one thing that they depicted in the movie or the series is that because he was interrogated by officers and because he had this learning disability, speech impediment, et cetera, that they were able to convince him to do things and he didn't really understand and process it. So I thought it was excellent that they let Corey speak. And I know a lot of people were sitting there, like listening to him speak. Some people were maybe cringing or like, help him. I'm like, no, he needs to speak. There are a lot of people in this world with speech impediments, with speech and language impairments, disabilities, cognitive disabilities or whatever. And we have to stop hiding people and acting like they don't bring value to the table because they don't speak like somebody else speaks. And so I'm glad that they let him speak specifically. Because they could have said, no, because we know he's not going to get the right words out. It's going to take a long time or whatever. They could have said that and they could have just let him be in the shadows. But they let him be in the front. And once again, we are reminded that there are groups of people that spend their time making fun of people like this, just as they made fun of Gus Walls, right? Tim Walls' son, right? Who's on the spectrum, right? Just as the former president, right, made fun of a reporter that had a physical disability. Like, we are reminded that there are some people out here that are really, really, that's a really terrible thing to do. It's a terrible way to be. And the crazy part is, almost every person that I know, no joke, in the whole world has someone in their family with some kind of disability. Whether it is a physical disability that you can see, an emotional disability, a mental disability, cognitive disability, almost everybody I know has someone in their family that has a disability. And so when I see people making light of him or anybody else making fun of those people, I don't understand that. It really just has to do with what some people are allowed to do and get away with and what others aren't. That's really what it is. Because in no other context would you accept that. Sorry, it's like a gnat flying around in my face. And I'm trying to make sure I don't get my drink. So I'm glad that they let him speak. And I am glad that the DNC had the speakers that they have because I think that they were all very important, very intentional about what they were speaking about and in those particular moments. I think it was well done. I really do. I wish I had the opportunity to go, but I thought it was done really, really well. And back to Vice President Kamala Harris, right? The Democratic nominee for president of the United States. There's a rapper by the name of Meek Mill who posted on his social media that he wanted to talk to Kamala Harris about her past dealings with locking men up for weed possession in California as a prosecutor. First of all, the history of who she is and what she has done as an attorney general is easily searchable, very easily. Secondly, I want to know why Meek Mill will want to speak to her about her past so-called indiscretions or viewpoints or ideologies, but wouldn't want to speak to Donald Trump about his past indiscretions or ideologies. Thirdly, there's this sense out here that Black women, women of color, et cetera, you know, that we owe somebody something that other people don't owe. And it's coming from a very specific group of men, mostly Black men. And that is very concerning. It's very concerning for a lot of reasons, because the majority of these men were raised by Black women. And I need to understand where the disdain is, where the disenchantment is, where's this irritation coming from that they have, because I have not seen more people attack a Black woman, and in particular more Black men, and specifically more Black men in Hollywood or entertainment than I've seen now. And that's very disturbing. And I have more to say about it, but I got more sense than that. Meanwhile, Plies is out here doing the work. The same questions that these people want to know about and ask Vice President Kamala Harris or anybody else, Plies knows because he's doing the research. And then we saw D.L. Hughley get on the DNC and openly apologize to Vice President Kamala Harris for sharing misinformation about her and her record. And we still have people out here saying and doing the things that we're doing. Listen, these next few days are going to be difficult. September starts tomorrow. So we have, 30 days of September, 31 days of October, and then a few days of November before the election. So 60 plus days. I just want everybody to do the best you can do to keep your peace, to maintain your mental and physical stability, your emotional stability. Don't let people get you rattled, but make sure people are registered to vote. Make sure people are not spreading misinformation. Make sure you're doing everything that you can do to spread the word. Make sure you're doing everything that you can do to help in this cause, because there are some people that are just doing whatever they're going to do and there's no convincing. You know, some people just believe lies and there's nothing you can do about that. But you can put information out to try to help people understand and or correct them, and hopefully it will help them make better and sound decisions. I remember when, I think it was Meryl Streep, it was at one of the Oscars, and I think it was, I know it was one of the, I don't know if it was the Oscars, but it was one of the award shows that she received an award. And at that time, Donald Trump was the president. And when she got up to make her speech, she talked about the moment where he mocked that disabled reporter. And the room was silent. And she talked about how disgusting it was, and how we've come to a terrible place in society where we thought something like that was okay from anyone, but let alone a person who's going to run our country. And in light of recent events and attacks and all people questioning Vice President Kamala Harris's Blackness and or anything else, I think people really, really, really need to check themselves, because what we are allowing and saying is okay is what our children will be doing and mimicking and talking about going forward when we're not even here. When we're not even here. There was a time when it really meant something to be the president of the United States. And now it seems like that's been tainted. And that doesn't mean that any other president prior to now has been perfect. But I certainly do not recall in my lifetime or any conversations of presidents openly mocking and calling names toward people the way we've seen now. It's just, I hate to say that. I hate to say it, but it is true. It's disgusting and it shouldn't be celebrated. And it should not be somebody that we want to run the country. But people have their own opinions and people are going to do what they choose to do. So anyway, moving on from that. Let's talk about Keith Lee. Keith Lee is a food critic that started on, I'm not sure if he started on Instagram or TikTok, but he's a young man from Michigan who's been living in Las Vegas for a while. He's an MMA fighter. And he literally just started doing food reviews in his house, sitting on a Paw Patrol chair in his apartment and sitting like this close to the camera with his food and trying food. And then he would say, I got it, let's try it, and rate it 1 through 10. He has dreads. Seems like a cool, fun guy. Well, Keith Lee blew up. He blew up in a way he didn't expect. And at this point, Keith Lee is so successful with what he does that he goes around and travels and he leaves like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 tips in restaurants and buys food for people. And then the people come swooping in and they call it the Keith Lee effect because Keith Lee has been there. A lot of people are going to go there. There's another guy called Mr. Chime Time. And I don't know if he's more popular than Keith Lee or not, but I follow both of them. But one thing I will say about Keith Lee is I feel like he is a little bit more dignified in his responses if he doesn't like the food versus Mr. Chime Time. I digress. Keith Lee is in the DMV. He came to DC to try some food. Oh, Lord. I feel like Raven-Symoné in that video when she's chuckling. So let me tell you something about the DMV. In 1998, in August of 1998, when I moved to the DMV to become a full-time student at Howard University after graduating from high school, and then stayed at Howard University through May of 2002 when I officially graduated with a political science degree. One thing I learned in the 4 years of being in Washington, D.C. in my undergrad years, and this was in my undergrad years, was that the DMV, this is just me talking, and specifically D.C., was not a place that was known for food. I ate a lot of places in my undergrad years at Howard University. So from 1998 to 99, to 2000, to 2001, to 2002, while I was at Howard, I ate a lot of places. I went to eat in a lot of places in DC. I went to eat in quite a few places in Maryland, not as much. And then even fewer places in Virginia. And I came to the conclusion then that the DMV was not known for food. And that's okay. There were things that the DMV had that people know about. People know about mumbo sauce in DC. They know about the curry outs. But overall, there was not this, oh, DC has slamming food. There was never that discussion. I never had that discussion with anybody. I have family that are from the DMV, born and raised. I know a lot of people in the DMV. It's never been that discussion. There were discussions of Baltimore having good food and good food areas. There were discussions about some places in and around in Virginia, different pockets where you could get good food. And now we are talking about, this was a long time ago. I've been out of college over 20 years at this point. And there have been more eating places, right? But DC is still not really well known like that for food. And there are also specific cuisines from different places. I remember we went to eat years ago when I first met Corey, we went to a place called Marrakesh. Marrakesh. Anybody from the DMV out here? Y'all ever heard of Marrakesh? Indian cuisine. And I remember we went there as a family, Corey's family, like the whole family, like brothers and sisters, spouses, kids. And this was way before Corey and I had kids. And I just remember that the baklava was really good. So there was always like the Indian cuisine, Middle Eastern, other type, Ethiopian, even Jamaican, like a couple spots here and there. But again, it was never really known to be this area where there's like, oh my gosh, y'all gotta go eat in DC, or y'all gotta go eat out there. That's not what this area has ever been known for. And so when I heard Keith Lee was coming to the DMV, I said, oh boy, I wonder where is he gonna go? And I wonder where people gonna send him. And then some of them sent him to Hong Kong. Listen, he went and got some regular chicken wings and some fried rice and was just like, I mean, this just tastes like regular fried rice and regular chicken wings. Yeah, because people mad at Keith Lee. This is what he does. Keith Lee been doing this for years. He goes to places and he gets the food and he tell you if he like it or not. And so far, it's been a little bit of a miss. I hope he travels up to Baltimore. Now, Baltimore ain't DC. I know that. Baltimore ain't DC. It's a different place. Baltimore is even different from the rest of Maryland. I get that. Just like Alexandria ain't Norfolk, right? I understand that. Just like Arlington ain't Virginia Beach. Just like Loudoun County ain't Suffolk. I mean, there's worlds apart, even though they're in the same area. I just hope that before he leaves, he gets some seriously good food from some spots so that people, can get off his back, okay? I want him to go to 1799 Prime at Alexandria. That's a new place that opened not too long ago. Corey and I went. It's Black owned. It is actually owned by the great grandson, I believe, 3 greats, of one of the founders of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Little known fact. I didn't even know that before I went there. But it's a steak place, and I hope he goes there. They have phenomenal food. There's a couple other little spots in Alexandria, that kind of area. And Tamika, you are absolutely right. I'm sorry, but it ain't no good barbecue in DC that I've had for the people come for me. But let me tell you where there is some good barbecue. In Virginia, there's a place called the Pit Stop. I ain't had good barbecue like that outside of this area ever. And if you want some good barbecue, if you in Virginia, you got to come to the Pit Stop. It's in Sterling, Virginia. They have a brick and mortar in Sterling, and then they got a setup outside in an area called Gilbert's Corner. And that's kind of near Salamander Resort, if y'all know where that is. Like out in Middleburg. That's the best barbecue I ever had. And I'm not kidding, in my life. I'm from Detroit, and I have always had good barbecue growing up. Always. Good barbecue. And I've had barbecue from the Carolinas and all the places where people say the barbecue was good. But all I'm saying is this: I hope Keith Lee gets some good food before he leaves, so that this stain of what the DMV has, and I don't know if he really doing a DMV tour if it's just DC. If it's just DC, he got to do DC. But if he doing a DMV tour, he gonna have to spend some time, because these places are worlds apart and they're far away from each other. And he needs to come in specific areas and hover and get some good food before he leaves. But y'all get off his back. I can't. People out here threatening this man's life and all of that. We said this before. It's no reason for y'all to be acting like that. This man going in businesses and blessing people, and he's getting people to come to businesses that were on the brink of closing and all that. It's no reason to be threatening him. Come on now. We got to grow up a little bit. Got to grow up. It's band season. And just when you thought that Drake was going to get a break, Hey, Miss Gwen, just when you thought Drake was going to get a break from Kendrick Lamar, band season is upon us. Every HBCU will be playing They Not Like Us. And dare I even say schools that are not HBCUs, they're already playing it. I mean, they were playing this man's song at a Major League Baseball game on the organ with fingers and hands. So you know band's about to eat this up. And I know y'all tired of They Not Like Us, but I'm not. Something about They Not Like Us has really resonated in my spirit. I ain't trying to get deep and spiritual on y'all. Something about that song has sunk down in my soul. And I feel good about it. Colleen laughing at me. And you know what? I'm going to tell you why. I think it's because there are people that at some point they get tired of you using them, or they get tired of you mistreating them. They get tired of you talking about them, and they got to pop out right quick and just show you who they are. Right? Sometimes people get tired of, I'm always the one that got to apologize. I'm always the one that got to be nice. I'm always the one giving the benefit of the doubt. And I'm saying this as a regular, real person. Yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, I'm a preacher, all that. But I'm saying that as a regular person. You get tired sometimes of being the bigger person. And this song is prime example of that. And I am so sorry for Drake, because I don't wish misfortune upon anyone. Period. The reality of the situation is he started it. And sometimes when you keep poking the bear, this is what you get. The whole world is singing this song. I mean, when I say singing this song, they are singing this song. They singing it. They put it in opera form. They got their kids singing it. They having it at cookouts. Major League Baseball people are sitting in the pit things, playing it with their hands. It's so much, y'all. It's just, and again, I hate to say it, and I hate to be this person, but sometimes people get tired of being the bigger person. So unfortunately, Drake thought he was going to get a break. I even thought he was going to get a little bit of a break. But now it's band season. And every band is about to be playing this everywhere. Matter of fact, bands already playing it. If they was playing it at a Major League Baseball game, you better believe it's going to be played on football fields. And it's not just going to be HBCUs playing it. I've seen other schools playing it already. It's everywhere. Look, my sorority sister, Tamika, my line sister, she said they singing it in Germany, France, and my friend said that the club in Egypt was playing it over and over again. And I'm telling y'all, I'm being funny a little bit, but I'm not. Something about this song resonates with me. I can play this song over and over again. I kid you not. Sometimes I wake up thinking about this song. Anybody that's ever been through something where you were made out to be the villain, but you really weren't the villain, or you were made to feel wrong, but you really weren't wrong, but you didn't say anything, you held it in, you've been holding it in, maybe you released it in other ways, you've been wrong with this song is like for us. I feel like it's for us. It's like a clarion call. It's like at some point, everybody has a breaking point. And again, when you bother people that didn't ask to be bothered, you can't get mad at their response. You cannot get mad at somebody's response when you poke the bear. And that's what I believe happened. And I don't condone violence or anything like that at all. I never would. And like I said, I don't wish ill on anybody. What I am saying is this song has become a relentless movement. Maybe it's bigger than Drake. I don't know. But it's become a movement to a point where I know people are tired of it. I know Steph Curry was like, there ain't no other song to play. No. Nope, it's not. Run it back. Because sometimes people got to hear stuff over and over and over again. Over and over again. Y'all ever had this popcorn from Starbucks? I'm not a person that goes to Starbucks all the time. But they had drinks 2 for $10 in the app. So I went there and got the berry refresher, summer berry refresher. This is going to be gone pretty soon with the boba in the bottom because it's only for the summer. This popcorn's all right. Anyway, just get ready. Just get ready. It's band season. All right, let me keep going. Now, if you missed, hey, Mike. If you missed and you just came in, you missed me talking about Keith Lee in the DMV. Keith Lee is the food critic from TikTok and Instagram, and he here in DC eating some terrible food. Already talked about DC ain't known for food, but you got to go to the other places like Baltimore. You got to come to some spots in VA, some other spots if you want to get, good food. I already talked about the 2024 presidential election, Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz as the nominees. I talked about the DNC a little bit. I talked about Meek Mill's ridiculous request to speak to Kamala Harris about her past indiscretions with prosecuting young men in California over weed and incarcerating them over weed. But I also talked about how ridiculous it is that he's not asking Donald Trump the same thing about his past ideologies and indiscretions, considering that he took out an over 80,000 page ad to have the Central Park 5 executed when they didn't even do the crime. And then when it was proven that they didn't do the crime, he didn't care. And then, yes, Mike, I did talk about Plies. I did. Because he's my favorite person on these internet streets about now, on social media. What I really appreciate about Plies, besides the fact that he is just funny, he is funny. He ain't even trying to be funny. I know he ain't always trying to be funny. But what I appreciate about Plies is he's actually like reading, like this is legit stuff he's saying. Yes, he is interjecting his opinion, but he's actually talking about things that are legit. And that's what I'm saying, juxtaposed to Meek Mill saying, I want to talk to her about the mass incarceration of young men in California when she was the prosecutor over weed. Did you read that somewhere, or did you just hear somebody say that with my 2 fingers like this in your face? Because I guarantee he didn't read that anywhere. Public servant type people, lawyers, their records are public. Go look it up. I want him to go look it up before he thinks he's going to sit down with the vice president and somehow make her explain to him what he did, what she did or did not do. Look it up first. Do some research, especially as somebody who's been constantly incarcerated and who has complained about unfairness and injustice. Like this, Mike. Like these fingers. I want you to do some research before you part your mouth, because I don't see you requesting to meet with Donald Trump about his past indiscretions and ideologies. But you think the vice president is supposed to sit down with you and explain what she did or did not do to you? I got more to say, but nope, I ain't gonna do it. So y'all missed all of that. I talked about the DNC. I talked about the excitement of the DNC. And honestly, y'all, overall, I really talked about the excitement of the younger voters. I just know that young people feel disconnected from government and from politics and all those things. And me being a political science major, I've never been disconnected because I've always been in tune with it because I like politics. I really enjoy it. I really do. That's why I was a political science major. I've always been in and around it. And so I've always felt in tune. But I do realize there's a larger part of society that feels disconnected. They feel like their vote doesn't count, that no one ever helps them. No one asks them what's going on with them. How can they help them? That they're not seen, that they're not heard. And I understand that. And a lot of these Gen Zers and even lower, as far as age, they feel super, 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 super disconnected. But what I see is this has ignited more discussion. And even if some of them don't agree completely with Vice President Kamala Harris's views or Donald Trump's views or anybody else's views, what we are seeing is a level of engagement that has not been there before. And that's what's exciting to me. And I hope the momentum stays up as I get a text message on my phone right here. Hey, Jamila, tonight at midnight, our campaign faces are whatever. I've given quite a few dollars already to the campaign. All right. All right, VP and Governor. I've given some. Okay. My monthly donation is coming, but it's not September yet. So give me a break. Okay. The text messages be rolling in, don't they? Anyway. So I talked about all that. And furthermore, Mike, just like you said, Plies is a good person to listen to. I don't care. He's funny to hear him talking. When he talk about how many sauce packets you get at the Chick-fil-A, when he talk about, I mean, just everything. He's a funny person to listen to. I like him. Here's what it is. All right. The Braxtons. The Braxtons are back on TV. Yes, the Braxtons, as in Toni Braxton and her sisters, Trina, Tawanda, Tamar, Mama Evelyn, Brother Mikey, Daddy, and of course, Sister Tracy passed, right? Tracy passed away 2 years ago at this point. And they said that she wanted the show to be back on. I would have to go back and listen to some old stuff with her in it to see if that is something that she shared publicly or maybe just with her sisters. And so they say that's the reason they're doing it, in tribute to her. But there's definitely a lot of hurt and dysfunction going on already. Toni Braxton revealed that she has a heart condition. Toni Braxton already has lupus. Has had lupus for a very long time. She also has a heart condition that, they're saying that she said eventually she may have to have a bypass surgery for. And her anxiety is through the roof because of that, because she's basically scared that if she has any type of stress, she could potentially die. And so what we're seeing is they're showing the last moments that they spent with Tracy before she passed. We're seeing them back on the couch because, baby, this is a family that stays on the couch. I don't care what anybody say, whether or not you think their issues are sorted out or they genuine or not, at least they're getting on the couch together. Because, because every time they get on that couch, Mom Evelyn end up hollering. Tamar be, rolling her head around. Tawanda usually sitting on the side like this. Toni usually sitting in the fetal position. And then Trina is usually battling all those different emotions at one time. And I do miss seeing Tracy sit with them because Tracy's faces were gold as well. It's very interesting to watch. It is sad to see that Tracy is not there anymore. And although there are still some very unresolved issues that's very recognizable with them. Tamar keeps saying she's in a good place and she is constantly in therapy and she has done her grief therapy and she's done. You can tell that there's still a lot between her and the sisters, that she just feels disconnected from them. Tawanda seems very kind of with a wall up, shut down a little bit. Toni is just trying not to overstress herself. And then Trina is just like a basket of emotions right now. And I'm watching because I love the Braxtons. I love the Braxton sisters. Them are some singing sisters. Point blank, period. They can sing. And yes, they were entertaining to watch at a time. I hate to say that because I don't want to be one of those people to seem like I'm watching somebody's demise as my entertainment. But I did like seeing them. I like seeing the fun parts of them. Even if those fun parts were mixed with other times, right? I want to point two things out though, right quick. Maybe three, maybe four. The first thing is I want to know why Mama Evelyn was sitting on that couch like that. They in a therapy session and she on the couch like this. This the couch. This how she's sitting on the couch. I don't know how. I'm not saying you can't successfully do therapy sessions not sitting like this or sitting like this, but I do think that's a signal already for what you are or are not going to do. Okay? That's the first one. Mike, the second thing I want to point out is, why was that therapist named Spirit? Why is her name Spirit? What is your name? Like, what is your actual name as a therapist? I can't be calling you these one-word things. That's not her name. She reminded me of Regina King a little bit too, the therapist. But why is her name Spirit? I was having a hard time taking it seriously. Spirit. And the third thing is, it is hard to watch Tracy's son because he's going through a lot. Him and his father don't seem to be getting along because there's a comment that, Tracy made him executor over his estate and affairs versus the husband. And there seems to be some disconnect. Now the son is also going through a divorce. It's hard to watch him because he's a baby. I don't mean he's not a baby. I know he's a grown up, but still, that's hard to watch. And then the fourth comment is, I know they talked about Trina's accent years ago. Wait a minute. I know they talked about Trina's accent years ago. Because when Trina says the word about, she's like, about, or around, is a road. And I know that Miss E said, the mama, I know she said she didn't know where Trina got that accent from because they from Baltimore, baby. They from the DMV. Don't nobody out here talk like that. Maybe you don't talk like, let's go to the curry out. Maybe everybody don't have that thick of an accent, but Trina talks like she grew up in the valley. But Miss E, I remember years ago on one of them episodes of Braxton Family Values, because the show is now called The Braxtons. It used to be called Braxton Family Values. She said that when Trina went to college, she came back talking like that. Did anybody know where Trina went to college? I want to know where she went to college, because every time, and she still talks, she's like, I mean, because when we sit around, and it's all regular, and then she goes, and when we sit around, it's all about, and I'm going, it's only on certain words. So it's not even like a real, anyway, y'all know I'm just joking. A Canadian accent, She went to school in Canada? I just want to know why. Because it's woo, it's hard to keep hearing. What HBCU she went to? Who knows where Trina Braxton went to school? I can't look it up because all of my devices are in use right now for Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So somebody look it up, drop it in one of these comments. Where did Trina Braxton go to school? I want to know. Because Miss E said when she went to college and came back, she had that accent. It's probably somebody she met. Anyway. Oh boy. And then Tyrese sat down with Shannon Sharpe. I love Tyrese. I love Tyrese. I do. I always have. I love Tyrese. He's a nice looking man. He can sing his tail off. I don't know what that outfit was that he was wearing with Shannon with them slides. And it seemed like he was trying to be more funny the whole interview than he was trying to be serious. But I think that's part of Tyrese's character. I think he is more of a funny person than we knew about. Mike. But what was he wearing? Like, is he like, maybe he visited Dubai or something and he got the outfit there and he really liked it and he thought that was the representation of who he is. And also, like, in all seriousness, real quick, does Tyrese identify as like Muslim of the Islam faith, or is he a Christian? I know he talks sometimes about Christianity and like his mom and his beliefs and stuff, but then sometimes the way I see him dress leads me to believe that he believes something else. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just curious. Does anybody really know? Does Tyrese identify as a Christian? Does he identify as a Muslim? Or is this just his clothing choices? Drop that in the comments if you know. I didn't watch all the Shannon Sharpe interview. I'm going to finish it. But I didn't like the fact that he stayed joking about Shannon's nose so long. Shannon has a large nose, Shannon Sharpe, as quite a few Black people do. But his nose jokes went on too long. And I feel like because of the vulnerability we've seen of Tyrese over the years on these social media streets, that's something that would have sent him over the edge, in my opinion. In my opinion. I mean, we've seen him cry. We've seen him pour his heart out in many ways. We've seen him talk about being vulnerable and people manipulating him, using him, talking about him, etc. And I feel like if somebody was making that many jokes about his nose, as in Tyrese, over and over again throughout the interview, I feel like he would have had something to say about that. So I was really, like, I was getting uncomfortable about that. And I don't know if you all have seen that interview or not with Shannon Sharpe, but I was getting uncomfortable with that. The Ashley joke was different. He didn't stay on the Ashliness, but he kept circling back on the nose thing. You know, almost like Shannon said something about him one time or something related to his nose. Anyway, that was a little uncomfortable. I will finish watching the interview. The Cat Williams interview still reigns supreme, in my opinion, from Shannon. But I am going to finish watching it because I like Tyrese and I know he's been through a lot. I wish Tyrese had better friends. And if he does, I wish that they would really rally around him because he seems like he's a lot to unpack and he has so much to offer the world as far as acting, singing, everything like that. But there are just some pieces of him I feel like he can't get over. So that's me on Tyrese. All right, let's talk about The Deliverance. And then I got about 7 minutes left. So yeah, for real, Mike, I am. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Let me go back to Shannon's Club Shay Shay right quick. While I understand Shannon Sharpe is not a journalist, he's never professed to be, right? And I like his banter with Ocho, with Chad. I like that banter with the two of them. If he's going to be doing these lengthy interviews, asking the kinds of questions he's asking, I do think he needs to work on his style. And I agree with you, Mike. He needs to improve on his skills. And again, he's not professing to be a journalist or top interviewer or whatever, but these interviews are often, they're digging deeper and they're lengthy. These interviews are long. And so if you're not going to keep drinking and then we can just laugh about it, I think he has to work on his interviewing skills. He needs to work on the transitions and all that. Because it does get awkward at times. It gets awkward. It gets awkward. And I really enjoyed the Amanda Seales interview too. She's one of my favorite people in the whole world. I know people either love her or hate her. I happen to be on the love Amanda side. I don't always agree with her, but I think she has a lot of value. Hey, Tukey, how are you? I feel like Amanda Seales brings a lot of value to the table and everything, but the Cat Williams one was top tier. But the transitions are hard. And a person like Amanda was hard to interview because those transitions were terrible and she was eating him up on them. So that's all I have to say about that. But kudos to Shannon Sharpe. He's giving us some good interviews, some fun interviews, some laughs, and I like to see Shannon Sharpe winning because Skip Bayless thought that was going to be the end of Shannon. So that's all I'm saying. Okay, let's talk about The Deliverance. I'm not going to spoil this movie for anyone. Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good, Tukey. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are too. Miss you too. The Deliverance is a movie that's out on Netflix. It was done by Lee Daniels and somebody else. Andra Day and Glenn Close are the main characters. Andra Day has 3 children in the movie, and one of her children is Caleb McLaughlin. Caleb McLaughlin plays on Stranger Things. He also was on the New Edition story as young Ricky. Also in The Deliverance is Omar Epps. So I said Andra Day, Glenn Close, Omar Epps, Tasha Smith, Anjanae Ellis, and Monique. That's quite a cast. Star-studded. This movie is based on a true story or true events, true story, which I had never heard about. It's about a Black woman, last name Ammons, Ammons, from Gary, Indiana. And the documentary is called Demon House. So I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't read about too much before I watched the movie. Had no idea it was based on a true story. And I definitely had no idea that this was like an Exorcist type movie. I didn't know that. I literally went in blind. Maybe I wasn't reading enough. Maybe I didn't see the headings on the screen. It seems like it's being advertised as a Christian film. Which is nothing wrong with that. But it's horror. And I feel like somebody needs to say that. Because if people don't watch The Exorcist, if you don't watch the Conjuring series, if you didn't watch like The Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Pope's Exorcist, which was excellent in my opinion. Mike, did you see that? The Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe. If you don't watch any of those things, this thing's gonna scare you to death. It's not super scary, don't get me wrong. But that's to me. If you're a person who does not like watching Exorcist type movies, you don't need to watch this movie at all. You don't. Whether the scare level is a 0 or a 10, because you're not going to enjoy it, because you're going to be like trying to wait for the scary stuff to happen. But this was an interesting movie to kind of be labeled as a Christian movie. And I guess one of the things that makes it a little bit different from the other exorcism movies is this was not coming from this perspective of Catholicism or the Catholic Church. Most of the exorcist movies are centered around Catholicism, because the Catholic Church is the church that performs exorcisms. But this was different. This was regular. This was a regular Black female pastor, not a Catholic one, that more Kojic, holiness sanctified kind of, that was doing the exorcism. Mike, what'd you say? Will it disturb us? Because I need to, so everybody keeps asking me what I think about it. And I'm still trying to formulate my thoughts. I don't think it was bad. I think the acting was top tier. Baby, Glenn Close had me convinced in that movie that She grew up with Black people, grew up around Black people. I mean, her character was very convincing. I thought Andra Day did an amazing job. Amazing. I think Monique kind of played herself. I'm not saying she didn't do a good job, but Monique kind of played herself, you know, kind of edgy. You don't talk to me like that kind of character. Omar Epps didn't have many parts. He was pretty chill. I thought the kids did a great job. And then Tasha Smith didn't have a whole lot of parts. Anjanae Ellis, whatever she in, I'm watching it. Period. She's top tier. Okay. She could be doing a pizza commercial. I'm watching it. I thought the acting was good. Overall, though, I thought the movie was a little disjointed. I feel like the beginning of the movie was one way, and then we made a shift, and then it was almost a whole different movie later. Like, if I didn't tell you right now that there was an exorcism involved, you would watch probably the first, I don't know, almost hour of the movie and not even know that. So I'm just trying to warn people, because I feel like there needed to be a warning label there. Like, it was a pretty serious movie in the beginning, very involved, you know, watching the dynamics and the relationships between Andra Day and Glenn Close, mom and daughter, her with her kids, a lot of talks about mental, emotional, physical abuse, you know, molestation, separation, divorce, you know, neglect, CPS. And there was no indication in all of that, in my opinion, that this was about a demon was coming somewhere. No indication. None. 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 So I feel like it was a little disjointed. And then I realized this was based on a true story. So I said, well, maybe he didn't have the rights to talk about certain things. I don't know. I want to give the movie an A because I think the acting was great. But if I'm really basing it on the movie and the flow of things and the build up and the climax, the plot, the oh snap, I don't know. I don't know that I can give it an A. So I still don't have my opinion. I'm just going to say watch it for yourself. But if you're not into horror at all, if you do not like seeing exorcist type things, do not watch it. Point blank, period. Because you're going to be surprised. And for all the promotion of it being a Christian movie, it is definitely, you know, I mean, y'all don't care anyway. Y'all be watching P-Valley and stuff like that anyway. So don't sit here and act like y'all can't watch a movie with a whole lot of cussing. Don't act like it. Don't act like it. But it was a lot of cussing. It ain't no Tyler Perry joint. It's not. It ain't that. So be prepared. That's all I gotta say about that. Be prepared for the language. And I mean serious language. I don't just mean a couple D words here and there or whatever. I don't mean that. I don't mean all this stuff keep falling on the floor. And now I got to put all my good kernels over here. I don't mean little language. I mean it's heavy language. Heavy. So be prepared. All right. As I speak about horror movies, look what my husband bought for me. Y'all see mine? I'm showing Instagram first. Look. It's Freddy Krueger from Funko Pop. That's pretty cool. So listen, y'all, it's 5:34. I know I got on here super late because I was having trouble getting logged in and all that. I did get through everything I want to talk about today. That's a miracle. It is a miracle. And again, I know some of y'all are like, of all time, Mike, of all time, Freddy Krueger and the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is my favorite franchise in horror of all time. Of all time. It's just a mixture of a lot of things. There's comedy, there's a storyline there, there's a continuous storyline. You know, we see the characters build from one movie to the next, except number 2, Freddy 2, which was trash. Even Wes Craven said that himself, but my favorite of all time. But anyway, I hope to do more of these, y'all. I do. I hope to do more. But the reality is this. You know, I am finishing up studies in different areas, and school and everything can be kicking my butt every now and then. Also, I want to make sure that some of these last ones I've done, I haven't had an opportunity to really do any research on topics. I've just been hearing about them. Because I'm going to be honest, leading up to the election, I am going to try to limit as much as I can my social media involvement, because I don't want to get upset about things. I don't want to say things in the heat of the moment. I don't want to do anything crazy. Not that I'm that kind of person, but you never know. You never know. I try not to ever say 2 words. Hear me clearly. I try not to ever say 2 words in my life. The first one is always, and the second one is never. I don't care if it is something I do all the time. I try not to say always, and I try not to say never. Those are 2 definitive words. I'm not going to say I'll never do such and such, because you never know what you would do until you get in that particular situation. And I try not to say I always do, because there might be a time where I'm not going to do it, where I don't want to do it. And when we make words so definitive, we kind of set ourselves up anyway, right? We set ourselves up for people to be like, oh, see, you said you would never do that. Oh, see, you say you always do, so you set yourself up for that. You can still have beliefs and values, and you can still stand up and take a firm ground on something. You can put your foot down on something, but always and never are definitive words. I don't care if I'm a Christian. I can always learn something more. There's so much that I learned in Christianity when I was younger that I've had to unlearn as an adult, that wasn't right, that wasn't accurate, that really was just a fear tactic. There's so much more that I know now just about the world, the diaspora of Black people, of who we are, of what we do, of other people, who they are and what they do. And some of those things I thought I would never say or do, or never agree with, or never find myself over here talking with this group or doing this and doing that. I'm doing it. So that's why I don't say those things, because I believe we should always be learning and growing and evolving. You should study something for yourself. You should learn it for yourself. Don't just go off of what somebody tells you. Don't even just go off of one thing that they show you. Find other ways to find out about it yourself, so that you can learn and grow on your own. Because if it was revealed to somebody else to be truth, it's going to be revealed to you to be truth. I mean, I don't know. That's just the way that it is. So I want to make sure that when I do these, I'm being intentional with what I study and read about. I'm always going to be me, right? And I also know in being me that sometimes being me can involve some things that people will be like, oh, look at what she said over here, blah, 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 blah. And I have to do my best to toe the line, but still be myself, right? Because the reality is I do love what I do in my career field, and I love what I do here, and I love what I do in my church, and I love what I do in my sorority life, and I love what I do in other places through and for my alma mater, Howard University. And it's just, it's just the way that it is. It's just the way that it is. But society is looking for any little thing that you do and say wrong to disprove you nowadays. And to question the validity of who you are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is another thing I want to say. What you say, Mike? You might want to see the latest episode of Drink Champs. Oh, yeah, I definitely want to see that. With Spinderella, for sure. For sure, I want to see that. I'm going to have to check that out. It's another thing I want to say, too. I really, really, really want people. This is so random, but I'm going to say it anyway. I really want people to stop worrying about and judging what people are or are not doing with their money when they go on vacations. This is so random, right? But I see a lot of people talk about that. You know, sometimes people have to move hell and hot water to go on a vacation, right? Any kind of trip. And a vacation can be anything. Just because you can't go to Belize with your 10 best friends or Greece and take the pictures with the big flowing dresses don't mean you can't go somewhere and have a good time. Stop basing what you do, what you want to do, or what's considered a real vacation off of what other people do. You do what you can do. If your vacation take you to Sedona, Arizona for a spa week, go. If your vacation take you to Dubai, go. If your vacation take you to Ghana, go. If your vacation take you to Virginia Beach, go. If you live in Virginia and your vacation take you to a nearby hotel in DC by yourself, go. You go and do it and stop worrying about what other people are or are not doing on their vacation. I have never seen more people. That ain't no real vacation. I don't understand it. Everybody does what they can do according to their pockets. Period. And if they owe you money and they going on vacation, I don't know what to tell you. Let that money go. Don't worry about it. I just know that people have a lot to say about what people doing with their money on their vacations. Some people spend exorbitant amounts of money on vacation. Some people barely spend anything. But you do what you have to do. Everybody's mental, physical, and emotional well-being is in their hands, what they choose to do with it. And there may be an opportunity where you can do what somebody else did. And if it's not, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Do the best you can do with what you got and who you are. And don't worry about the rest of that stuff. It'll come. That trip you always wanted to take, it'll come. That piece, whatever it is. I don't know. That's just so weird and random. I see that a lot on TikTok. And I am on TikTok. And I don't do my lives on TikTok because I don't really know how the TikTok world works when you're doing these kind of things. I've done quick lives and I of course do videos and CapCut edits and stuff. I don't know how to navigate that world. So I just do what I do on TikTok and then I peace out. Right. Anyway, I hope y'all have a long, restful weekend. I hope you've had a long, restful weekend. I am so thankful and grateful that we had yesterday off. I don't know what to do. And sure enough, I was glad about it because we lost power Thursday night and it didn't come back on until Friday about, what time did it come on Friday? I don't know, about 11 a.m. or so, maybe a little bit earlier. It's all good though. We were safe, had food, had shelter, no complaints, nowhere to go. So thankful and grateful for that. But I hope y'all enjoy your long, restful weekend. I hope you get active politically. Please don't make the mistake of thinking your vote does not count. Oh, Mike, did you go to the dedication? They had a dedication for Martin. He got a Detroit dedicated day. They did it right in front of the building that they used to film the beginning of Martin. Did you go to that? That would have been cool to go to. I thought about coming home for the weekend. Whew. But I just thought about how tired I was too. And all that. Anyway, I know I'm eating this popcorn on here in front of y'all. It's pretty good. Go upstairs and get me some pizza. That was pretty cool. I'm so glad to see Martin getting his flowers. Especially since everybody keeps talking about that he's sick or whatever's going on with him. I'm glad to see him get his flowers. Oh, here's my recommendations of things to watch. Only Murders in the Building. If you're not watching Only Murders in the Building, you are arguably missing one of the funniest series on TV right now. Steve Martin, Selena Gomez, and Martin Short are the trio we didn't even know we needed. That's the real Three Amigos. Please watch Only Murders in the Building. It's excellent. It is excellent. And it's on season 4. So you got some work to do. Lioness. We have not finished Lioness, but OMG. Zoe Saldana is doing her thing. Lioness. Only Murders in the Building and Lioness. Please check those out. What was the other show I was just talking about? Lord have mercy. I'm about to mess up. But those are the top 2 to watch right now. While the rest of us are waiting on some other good things to come on. Oh my gosh, where them balloons come from on Instagram? That's funny. While the rest of us are waiting on new Stranger Things to come out, a new Wednesday, the series to come out, waiting on a new American Horror Story to come out. There's a couple things that's getting ready to come back on. We're waiting on. But while you're waiting, please check out Only Murders in the Building and Lioness. Because, oh my gosh, you don't even know what you're missing if you ain't watching. All right? All right, y'all, I got to go. It's 5:46, and I need to go figure out what we're going to eat for dinner and all that good stuff. I hope, again, you enjoy your weekend, even if it ain't restful. Hang out, do whatever you're going to do. Be safe. This is the last hoorah. This is the last, cookout weekend, official cookout weekend. Official. I know people still going to be cooking out. But this is the last weekend because in other places it'll be getting cooler. And this is the last big travel weekend too. All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. I don't even know how to log out no more. I'm on a new computer. So y'all just going to sit here with me until I log out properly. Where do I go? End the stream. Yes, I want to end the stream. Oh, there we go. All right, y'all. Bye.